As Trump prepares to meet Xi, is Beijing quietly fooling Washington on Iran by tightening bank lending on paper while still keeping oil ties alive? With China's regulator asking big banks to pause new loans to Iran-linked refiners, is Beijing pretending to distance itself from Iranian oil ahead of Xi-Trump talks? As she publicly urges peace and a swift reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, will Trump end up falling for China's double game while Chinese refiners and intermediaries keep Iran's war economy afloat? By condemning the Fujairah oil hub attack and calling for Gulf stability, is she pushing to revive the Hormuz lifeline that its own energy security depends on? China's top financial regulator has reportedly instructed major state-owned banks to halt new loans to several Iranian-linked refiners, tightening pressure on their financing. The move covers 5 refining companies that were recently sanctioned by the United States, according to Bloomberg's reporting. The National Financial Regulatory Administration issued the guidance to leading lenders shortly before May 1st. Banks were told to stop issuing new yuan-denominated loans to the targeted refiners, but to keep existing credit lines in place for now. Lenders were also asked to review their broader relationships with major refining groups, including Hongli Petrochemicals' Dalian refinery. At the same time, China's Commerce Ministry publicly urged Chinese firms to ignore unilateral US sanctions and continue normal trade based on Chinese law. In April, the United States imposed sanctions on Hongli Petrochemical for buying billions of dollars worth of Iranian crude oil in violation of US curbs. US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has warned Chinese banks to exercise extreme caution over Iran-related transactions. Washington has also threatened secondary sanctions against foreign banks that facilitate Iranian trade, adding to the compliance risks. These sanctions have reportedly disrupted crude deliveries and fuel sales for some of the affected refiners. The financial moves come ahead of a planned meeting between US President Donald Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping, where Iran and sanctions policy are expected to feature prominently. US concerns also include China's alleged supply of missiles and other weaponry to Iran during the ongoing conflict. Meanwhile, Beijing has publicly urged diplomacy and the reopening of key shipping routes through the Strait of Hormuz. In talks with Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang called for an immediate end to hostilities and a full ceasefire. China's foreign ministry has also voiced opposition to the recent attack on the UAE's Fujairah oil terminal, warning of risks to energy security. Beijing has been seeking stability in the Gulf region to safeguard critical global energy supply routes on which China and the wider world depend.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.